Marshall's a tough environment, though. Marshall's that sneaky road trip, in my opinion, and this has been like a decade long that Marshall's been fire at home and terrible on the road. That's a dangerous road game, but if you look at, there's no return game with Kent State. There's no return game with Akron. Maybe when they go to UMass with Frank Martin being such a good coach, he could really take teams out of their rhythm. But I think there's a case that they could be undefeated in the regular season.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Hey, daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the prospect of daddy being away, like he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Rise and grind. It's a Friday with us. You made it, people. You can see the weekend on the horizon. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranier. Over the next 2 hours, we got you covered on all the hottest topics across the sports landscape, which includes a football-less Friday. Maybe. We got to keep you updated on those practice reports that are coming out, the injuries to maybe Drake May that you need to worry about. And also, is there any line movement in the total and also the side? The NBA market is heating up, not necessarily on the court itself, but the trade deadline is approaching, and Giannis Antetokounmpo could be the biggest fish on the market. Great college basketball, great NBA action, NFL talk, and so much more. We got it all today for the people, Joe, as we always do.
Yes, we do, Donnie. And even Eagle fans sort of celebrating today, Donnie. I can't wait to hear what you think of the latest hire for your Philadelphia Eagles.
That would be Sean Mannion, and from what I've heard all along, he was the best coordinator we found in the search. He was number one the minute we got that interview with him, and away we go. We don't need caffeination here in Philadelphia. We got Sean Mannion, but Joe has got that hot topic.
Yeah, Donnie, and finally, and I mean finally, someone on national television had the guts to say what every sports handicapper has known for years. Shout out, by the way, to Tim Legler, because he didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't make excuses about load management with the NBA or the new CBA. He said what we were all thinking out loud. The NBA has an effort problem. Now, Legler's been around this league for 35 plus years, and he said he has never seen a fluctuation in effort like he is witnessing this season. And he is 100% right, Tony, because we are watching teams on national TV, prime time, marquee matchups, come out looking disinterested in many, many games, Donnie. And I can tell you, I've watched just over the last couple of weeks, I have watched some games with teams where I'm going, I don't even recognize who these teams are right now. And I've been following them and watching them all season long. We just saw Minnesota blow out Golden State by 25 points. We watched Cleveland destroy the Lakers the other night by 30 in what might have been LeBron's last game in Ohio. These aren't competitive games in most cases, Donnie. They are performances by players who look like they would rather be anywhere else but on the court. And let me tell you, from a handicapping perspective, this is a nightmare. We are 82 games. That's what we have, 82 games in a season, where we aren't handicapping talent anymore, Donnie. We're trying to handicapping who cares on a nightly basis and who doesn't. We're trying to guess which one of these multimillionaires wants to break a sweat on a Tuesday night. It's a scary proposition for handicappers. You look at the spread, you look at the matchups, but you can't factor in lazy. You can't factor in entitled, Donnie. We've got teams dropping 140 points one night and getting blown out by 30 the next. Why? Well, because it's a scheduled loss, Donnie, and that is what we have in the NBA these days. This is a league that started the season dealing with a gambling scandal, and now it's dealing with an effort issue. The legends who paved the way, the guys who played 82 games a year and would rather die than not be on the court, they practiced hard. They don't recognize this NBA. They prided themselves on competition, not being beat by the other guy. This generation, they pride themselves on efficiency and apparently saving their energy for the playoffs. So thank you, Tim Legler, for being the only NBA analyst honest enough to actually say what we already know. The NBA is a nightly crapshoot, not because the talent is gone, but because the effort now is optional. So as we transition away from football, bet with your head, not over it. And maybe somebody can create a who gives a crap meter with these teams, Donnie, before we place any of those bets this weekend.
It's a great topic that Joe brings up. And also understand this. We love the NFL because we know what we get from the NFL on a night-to-night basis or a day-to-day, or should I say week-to-week effort here. We just watched close to 50 million people tune in to a snowstorm with two quarterbacks that were trying to outstink each other. But you know, we never said to ourselves, boy, that effort looks terrible, and I don't think they should be out there. We watch football because we understand the product that we're getting. It's such a simple fix for the NBA. And maybe it's just me screaming from the hilltops for the past 10 years. Make me commissioner. We will cut the games down in half. We have teams playing a maximum of 2 games per week. Can you imagine? And I always say this, and they're never going to do it. The reason why we love the NFL is because we start talking about the next game as fans on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and know exactly what we're going to get. Could you imagine LeBron James in his prime, Kevin Durant in his prime, playing, saying, you know what, they haven't played since Monday. They're going to play Saturday on a national TV game at 8 p.m. where everybody's playing, and you're so excited to watch because you didn't just watch them 4 times in 1 week and sit out 2 of those games here. The NBA has such a simple fix. Start after football season, dominate the summer, and cut down on the back-to-back games where they don't have them anymore. Maybe a 50-game schedule. It would be tremendous. But, Joe, hit the nail on the head as usual here. You're telling us by what you're doing on the court. And finally, people are starting to bring that up to attention. And let me say this. Well, Donnie's just an NBA hater. Joe will agree with me. The NBA playoffs are nothing short of sensational, but nothing in the NBA matters during the regular season. That's the problem. Let's get to the early lineup here on a Friday and get after it here. Super Bowl 60 on the way. $1.5 billion expected to be bet on this big game, Joe.
Yeah, and that's I think that's underestimated, Donnie, if we're being completely honest here. It's that doesn't include Uncle Nunzio down at the at the butcher. There is going to be some money, and we say it every year, right, Donnie? It is the single biggest betting event in the world. March Madness is close, but that's multiple games. We're talking about for a single game, nothing beats what we're going to have here on Super Bowl Sunday from a handle perspective.
It certainly does not. Mike Vrabel's telling you you're going to sit down on Super Bowl Sunday, and you're not going to have to worry about Drake May's injured shoulder. What do you think about that, Joe?
He's right. I mean, listen, everybody's hurt at this point in the season. He's fine. We'll be fine. And that's one of the best parts about Vrabel as a head coach here. You think that guy played with a couple of bumps and bruises and bad shoulders in his day? Yeah, I think he knows what he's talking about.
Keon Coleman took a lot of strays from the owner and the general manager on that one press conference where they let go of their former head coach, Sean McDermott. But how about this? Keon Coleman's going to be a Buffalo Bill, Joe Brady says.
I'm feeling great if I'm Keon Coleman. Yay, I'm a Buffalo Bill, where the owner thinks you absolutely drafted the wrong person and fired the coach because he wanted me. Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to play next year.
Josh Allen, surgery on his foot, getting ready for next year. Big stakes for the Buffalo Bills. New stadium, new look.
Congratulations, Josh. They hired your buddy, your offensive coordinator. Now let's see if he's capable of pushing you and the rest of the team over that finish line and get you to a Super Bowl.
Some out here in these streets are calling Sean Mannion a mini Bill Walsh out here, and I agree with it, Joe. The Philadelphia Eagles have finally found their offensive coordinator for 2026.
Former quarterback himself, right? I can swear I remember betting a few games. Was it Minnesota where he was under center? But everything that we're hearing about him is he is the next hot thing, Donnie, and he lands in Philly. So kudos to you and to the Eagles for hopefully nailing this choice this season.
The NBA dunk contest. I see the headlines. Haynes and Bryant have accepted offers. I hope that's Kobe Bryant as like an illusion, like coming back to dunk in the thing. I don't even. Okay, there we go. Jackson Hayes and Carter Bryant. I've watched maybe 0.1 second of them. I know Jackson Hayes. Carter Bryant, never. Is that a Carter Bryant? Who that would be? Is that Maverick Carter's kid mixed with Kobe Bryant? Who is it? Who's Carter Bryant?
Yeah. I mean, if a tree falls in the forest, Donnie, and nobody is there to watch it, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. And neither does the dunk competition anymore.
Ian Cunningham hired as general manager. What's he going to do there? Because you already have, other guys in place here, old quarterbacks coming back to town. But there we go. Shefty's reporting it. Congratulations. You're going to report to Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski and get paid well while doing it here. We're just getting started on a Friday. We'll be back after this short break.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel. All right, you got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow, right? Like it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. Certainly there's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But, these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good. But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
In reality, you and I could coach Josh Allen to 11 wins. Like, it's not that monumental of a task, right? I mean, Josh Allen alone gives you 9, if not 10 wins, just because he's on the field. So we're not asking for much here. The real question is can he coach somebody? Can somebody coach them through the playoffs and make critical decisions that open the door for them to get past certain opponents?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Spreadlines on a Friday. It's been a long time since we said we don't have any football this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Why? You take the week off, you get the hype going there for Super Bowl 60, and next week we get Seattle and New England. But it's never too early still to look at some of these lines because technically they are moving and maybe inching along. The side in the Super Bowl, still the favorite, the Seattle Seahawks, which it always will be. They're favored at -4.5 right now, even with the information coming out on will Drake May's shoulder be 100%. Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Patriots, he seems to think it will. But the total has been on the move. 46.5, and now looks like the stronghold across the board at just about every outlet, Joe, is 45.5. And I actually disagree with that a bit. I think we're going to get points in the Super Bowl between these two teams, but this game will not be played this Sunday. It's next Sunday. Lines will continue to inch, Joe, but right now, 4.5 and 45.5. What's that spread line for Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah, and again, Donnie, we're keep hearing the same thing from the risk rooms here, is that they're not anticipating from a spread perspective a whole lot of crazy movement, even though the limits are raised and guys can come in with 6-figure bets, 7-figure bets. I mean, it's something else when you have a guy like Mattress Mac shows up at Caesars with $2 million to put down, Donnie, and it doesn't affect the line whatsoever. So I think what you see is what you get. But to your point, that total continues to be the one place that they think we're going to get the most action and maybe the most influential bets when it comes to the total. A lot of money sitting on the sidelines right now, Donnie, on that total, waiting to see how low it might go. But I think we're going to see a ton of over money, and that line will be moving as we get closer to next Sunday.
Props as well. That public avalanche is coming next Thursday and next Friday, right into the weekend. Here's people start to settle in for Super Bowl Sunday. College basketball tonight, 8 o'clock, the Battle of Michigan in the Big Ten. Michigan travels to Michigan State. You take a look at this side, Joe, -1.5. Still out there in the marketplace as a favorite to the road team, the Michigan Wolverines. The total listed at 146.5 to 147.5 now, depending on where you're shopping at. In the Big Ten, Michigan State has the #1 most efficient defense here. Fantastic at absolutely rebounding and as well as defending the three-point line, and more importantly, inside the arc as well. We know Michigan's got a good offense. Michigan is the favorite tonight. Should Michigan be that favorite, Joe? What's your spread line here?
Well, that's the crazy thing, right, Donnie? I mean, listen, this is going to be maybe the game of the year, and probably going to be better than any sort of national championship game that we are going to get here. This is going to be a absolute war. Now, listen, Michigan is 5-0 in true road games here, right? I mean, they have been very, very good on the road. Michigan State, coming off a bit of a road trip there out west, handled their business. I don't think Michigan State appreciates being an underdog here, which is where they are right now, like you said, to the point and a half. I do think also the total is going to be interesting here. We've seen 145 last night, woke up this morning, Donnie, 147 and a half. And if Michigan has its way, they're going to run up and down this court and try to score as many points as humanly possible. Michigan State is going to want to control tempo, is going to want to slow it down and make it a half-court game. As usual, whoever wins that battle is going to win this game, Donnie.
How about Dayton and St. Louis tonight in the A10? By the way, look at this spread here, -10.5 to 11.5, depending on where you're shopping at, as a favorite towards the Billikens, with Dayton being on the road and a total of 151.5. Did you know St. Louis only has one loss on the season, and also in conference play, the most efficient offense and the most efficient defense? That's a great combination here. But the question isn't if St. Louis is going to win this game, how much of a margin can they win by? What's that spread line tonight between Dayton and St. Louis for you, Joe?
Yeah, another one of these big games of the night here. But ironically enough, Donnie, overnight we saw 10 and a half. Then I saw 11. Then I saw 12 last night. Now we're starting to see it come back down 11, 10 and a half, 11 and a half. So it's certainly on paper, it's a down season for Dayton at 14-7 here. But the Billikens, top 25 team. And my goodness, the Atlantic 10. I mean, good stuff here. The last team to actually make a run like this was Dayton back in 2019, Donnie. They went 29-2 here. They were one of the better teams in the country. But St. Louis, there is nothing not to like. Much like Miami of Ohio, this mid-major getting an awful lot of buzz and an awful lot of play here. And this is going to go a long way for them, not only wrapping up the Atlantic 10, but maybe, Donnie, just also giving themselves a pretty good shot at a great seeding come March Madness here. But they got to take care of business at home here tonight.
Let's head over to action. Kent State taking on Akron. Akron, the home team here, favored at minus 11.5. And I love to see totals like this. 168.5. Akron's defense, number one overall in efficiency in the conference. And also, they have the number two most efficient offense here. They love the three-point shot and the best free throw shooting team in the conference. It's Akron as a team at 80%. 11.5 as a favorite towards Akron. What's that spread line here tonight, Joe?
Well, Donnie, I mean, at this point, this is really a game of who is likely going to be runner-up to Miami of Ohio, right? The Red Hawks in the MAC seem to be running away with this. Both Kent State and Akron had chances to take down Miami of Ohio and did not do it. So this is going to be really who is in second in the MAC. But again, we already talked about this, right? This is all going to come down to the MAC Conference Championship here. One of these two teams likely is going to have to go through Miami of Ohio again. But I tell you, I would not want to sweat out an under in this game, Donnie. Both these teams push tempo. Both of them shoot lights out. Yeah, I think points are coming here tonight with Kent State and Akron.
Detroit Pistons, Golden State Warriors. Pistons got drubbed last night. They're back on the road tonight. They opened up as favorites. Now they're no longer favorites. The favorite, the Golden State Warriors, minus 1.5 and a total of 224.5. 10 o'clock start out there in the Golden State. Pistons, Warriors. What's that spread line here?
Yeah, Warriors back home here tonight after question marks about that, what are they going to do? Kuminga, the injuries. Well, they seem to right the ship pretty well last game. Feels like Pistons, long road trip here. This is a tough spot on a second of a back-to-back. Feels like the Warriors could make a statement in this game that they're not dead just yet.
9 games in the association tonight here, 7:30 start, 10 o'clock start, and away we go into your weekend. NFL news and notes coming up next. The Eagles have found their man as offensive coordinator. We'll let you know who that is next.
You got to get on a bus. Then you got to get to the hotel, all right? You got to check into your room. You got to go through all this crap. It's like, yeah, it's done for you, but it's still not like you're still sitting there. You're still in traffic. Yeah, you're still like, it's still 2 a.m. You still want to be in bed, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm on some highway in Calgary right now. It's 3:30 in the morning. And we're playing against the Canucks tomorrow, right? Like, it's not as smooth as people always think.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If there's more revenue for the league, there's more revenue for the players, and that would make it saleable. So they may have objections. There's more risk of injury the longer the season goes. But these guys, their careers are short. The money is good. Money would be better. So I wouldn't bet against the league expanding sooner rather than later.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
His wife and his kids were like, I kind of like this. This kind of works out for me. Daddy's a celebrity again, so I get access to things. Daddy's making money again. Hadn't made a nickel in the last 5 years. Now he's made a lot of money, so I'm sure they're good. Yeah. But all of a sudden, the prospect of Daddy being away, like, he ain't cheating on you in Buffalo, I can tell you that. I live there.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
In reality, you and I could coach Josh Allen to 11 wins. Like, it's not that monumental of a task, right? I mean, Josh Allen alone gives you 9, if not 10 wins, just because he's on the field. So we're not asking for much here. The real question is can he coach somebody? Can somebody coach them through the playoffs and make critical decisions that open the door for them to get past certain opponents?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia Eagles have found their man, offensive coordinator, for what feels like weeks after weeks of an exhausting, let alone puzzling interview process that had Jeffrey Lurie and the ownership saying at first, hey, we're going to take a big swing here. Maybe it's going to be a guy that definitely has, a hands-on experience, maybe a head coach here, but definitely has called plays. Only to settle on Sean Mannion, who's never called plays, only been a coach in the NFL for 2 seasons. But maybe you find that lightning in a bottle where you say, this young kid has the talent it takes to call these plays and get some of these superstar players open. The Eagles are hiring Sean Mannion as a new offensive coordinator per Adam Schefter. The Eagles got their man. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I think it's a great hire. I mean, he is just 2 years removed from actually playing quarterback in the NFL. But when you look at, he was the quarterback's coach and immediately got in with LaFleur there in Green Bay. He was the quarterback's coach there, Donnie. And when you think about the transformation of what those two quarterbacks there with Jordan Love, and more importantly, what we saw out of Malik Willis, he's got to be doing something right, because I didn't see that kind of production from Malik Willis happening at all. But, he learned under a pretty good guy there in LaFleur, seems to know exactly what he's doing with QBs. So maybe it's a good thing for Jalen Hurts and company here to get a kid like this in there who everything he's touched so far has turned out pretty well.
And also, being a quarterback always helps. You're in one of those West Coast systems there, obviously in Green Bay. And also, I do think at times, like, the play calling aspect here is a little bit overrated. Like, he's been a play caller for 10 years. Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at Brian Dable, the only 2 good years that he actually had was with Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You're only as good as the team around you at this point here, and we'll see if he's able to sink or swim. But the expectations are he will call the plays on Sundays for the Philadelphia Eagles. They finally got their guy. How about Kirk Cousins? What guy is he going to be to what team out here? Expected to be released, maybe a bridge quarterback. Hey, why not bring him up to why not bring him up to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins on the same team. Get the old heads together, man. Let's go.
Yeah, no, the Jets are calling, I am sure. Bring Kirk Cousins back in. But listen, I mean, are we 100% convinced that Atlanta can trust, the health of Michael Penix Jr.? I mean, sure, they can get rid of him, get out from under that. But listen, he is going to be a very wanted man in an NFL that is short on QBs. I think there's a number of teams that would love nothing more than to get Kirk Cousins in there. And by the way, they were a better team down the stretch with him under center than they were with Penix.
By the way, also, taking a look at some other options throughout the NFL. We're talking about the quarterback situations here. Maybe an all-time blunder it could be for the Minnesota Vikings to let go of Sam Darnold in favor of J.J. McCarthy. Here's the general manager talking about that decision.
The money that was spent to save, to not franchise Sam. Just how do you weigh those things and how the results turned out?
You spend a lot of those nights, obviously, you're up in these decisions and they're uncertain, and you're trying to make sure that you don't lock yourselves into what you did and thinking that it's always right. And so there's those nights that you wake up and stare at the ceiling and ask yourself. But I always go back to the process and what we thought at the time. It's easier to kind of go and be revisionist and results-based, but going to really think through what we had at the time. I still understand why we did what we did. The results maybe didn't play out the way we did. We wanted them to, but ultimately, I think that at the end of the day that we could have executed better in certain places. And I don't want to say it individually in terms of a particular player, but just executing better, knowing what the room was, play style-wise, experience-wise, and just kind of really put together a better combination of people, collective in that group. That's kind of the thing I probably focused on the most. And then also ultimately understanding how we play and win football games. Again, I'm not going to get into the specific how we group it, but we've won a high clip of games over here since we've been here, when we've gotten a certain level of play, a certain style of explosive plays. These are things we've talked about, but a lot of times points aren't made until something is removed. And then you kind of see the complex system and how when you move that one variable, how that one variable affects other things, and really seeing how when we weren't that explosive, how teams played us and how they kind of got to box a different fight. And when they got to box a different fight, how that impacted our defense and their ability to create turnovers and win games the way we thought we could win. So that was really just a great learning experience that tied into the quarterback discussion, and those are things we'll carry with us going forward.
Look, that was a long-winded answer for saying we drafted J.J. McCarthy and he stinks, we apologize, and maybe we should have kept Sam Darnold around. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah, I mean, he started to go down that road, right? And I'm staring at the ceiling. Well, you certainly are. And boy, oh boy, you're gonna be staring at the ceiling, watching Sam Darnold possibly win a world championship here, while you're still trying to figure out how did we bring in all of these terrible offensive linemen? Yeah, good job, Minnesota. Good job.
Let's continue the NFL talk next, right here after a short break on a Football Friday. How about that? Giannis Antetokounmpo's next team. Who would thought we'd ever be saying that? The guy should be minted in Milwaukee and never want to leave. The only problem is they can't surround him with the talent that he wants. Stays with Milwaukee or retires. He's actually trading at a 71% chance here. The favorite outside of Milwaukee, it's the New York Knicks at 15%.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Stacking up wins to avoid a brutal matchup path, and when Giannis is back full burst, they got to get him back on the floor and back on the floor healthy. The Bucs season won't be defined by the games Giannis misses. It'll be defined whether Milwaukee protects him from himself and gets him back in April, if he's still a part of the team.
Pro Basketball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
ESPN are not going to take shots or criticize him. People on Fox are not going to take shots and criticize him. But McVay had a bad game. Sean Payton had a bad game. And that's just a fact. Like, when they go back and review what took place in key spots of that game, Sean Payton cost the Broncos points and Sean McVay cost the Rams points. Those are the first two people that should be blamed.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The man who would get 1,000 yards every single season at a wide receiver. That's Tampa Bay Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans. And you might think to yourself, like, man, Evans coming back to Tampa, that offense should be able to flourish. They got some new offensive firepower, and away you go with Baker Mayfield. But rumors around the league, people around the NFL expect Mike Evans to move on from the Bucs this offseason. They have it at 50-50. I can't imagine a world where Tampa Bay and Mike Evans aren't synonymous, Joe. I can't imagine it. I can't.
No, well, but the problem is we've had this conversation now for the last couple of seasons with him, right? But, I mean, I don't know what people are thinking because, I mean, it wouldn't be Tampa Bay without Mike Evans. And every time we've seen him on the field with Baker Mayfield versus off, they are two totally different teams when Mike Evans plays versus when he doesn't. So he still has that kind of impact on the offense. He's not going to cost an arm and a leg. So I don't know what they're doing. Just sign him, lock him up, be done with it, and move on.
Hear me out on this next one. This is what gets me upset because we are handicappers. We like to watch the NFL games, and we like to understand that we're getting an honest product. And these are the ones that I always get a kick out of. Josh Allen just had a procedure on the 5th metatarsal avulsion in his foot. 8 to 10 weeks recovery time. So Josh Allen taking the podium, talking about it, it's like, yeah, I was playing with a broken right bone in my foot. Was he on the practice report with that? Was he on the injury report? Did we ever know that Josh Allen had a broken foot and was playing with it, Joe? Would have loved to have that information ahead of time.
It would have been great, Donnie, but we know better than this. We saw this with, of course, Lamar Jackson throughout the season, where we had no idea, Donnie, is he going? Is he not going? What's wrong with him? What do you mean he's got a back problem? Now he's got to show, like, what are we doing here? We see this all the time. Doesn't shock me that we didn't know about it, but we kind of knew he had a foot problem, right? We kind of knew that towards the end of the season, but Isn't there a rule against that? Don't you have to reveal that a dude's got a broken bone in his right foot? Don't you have to? Apparently not, I guess. Oops.
Millions of dollars in fines. That's what happened here. By the way, Josh Allen said he's not going to give up on Keon Coleman. Your owner gave up on him. Your previous head coach gave up on him. Pretty sure the general manager gave up on him. And when nobody wants to take confirmation on who made the pick, your organization gave up on him. Congratulations, Josh Allen. You're not giving up on Keon Coleman.
I just don't get. You're acting as if it's like he was once an all-world superstar, all-American, Super Bowl MVP that has just hit a rough patch. No. The kid was immature at Florida State. He was a wild card, which is why he dropped to begin with, and he continues to be that. He hasn't grown up yet, so he's running out of time. Though I'll tell you that this is his final chance. Something tells me I don't know that he is going to grow up in time in order to continue a career in the NFL.
Yeah, we don't care about Keon Coleman and Josh Allen. We want to know what Josh Allen has to say about the firing of his previous coach, Sean McDermott. Here you go.
How much more emotional did you get when you heard the news of Sean being fired and in the wake of all this?
Very, very emotional. It was a time where, again, I'm sitting in my house. I wake up to a call from Mr. Pagula telling me that it's telling me what had transpired, and I called Coach McDermott immediately. And I've got nothing but love and respect for Coach McDermott. The last 8 years of my life, he's been through ups and downs of me as a player, as a person. He's seen me grow up in a sense, and to know that, again, we've had a lot of success here. And, I'd be lying to you if I'm sitting here saying that, I feel like I had part in it, because if I make one more play that game in Denver, we're probably not having this press conference right now. We're probably not making a change. And in all honesty, we're probably getting ready to play another game. And that's the hard part to take in from my perspective. But that's reality. It is what it is now. And I am very fortunate and thankful for Coach McDermott and everything that he's done and the trajectory that he's set here for our players.
Oh, yeah. Everybody beating around the bush over there. Good old Sean. Maybe it wasn't Sean McDermott's fault after all, Joe.
No, it absolutely wasn't. It's laughable that it was. And it's also laughable to think that another one of these situations where, all right, so that was your first interview. Nobody got a second interview. And it feels like as time went on, all right, we just got to keep it in-house because we got to keep all they said in that press conference was how it was Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that. Our job here is to make sure that Josh Allen is It was clear that Josh Allen had some sort of influence in going with Joe Brady. But the whole thing, you're just too close to it at this point. It's too emotional. He spent more time talking about McDermott than he did Brady.
There you go. Moving on, Buffalo Bills, new stadium, getting calls from the ownership group. And how about this? I always say this. You never remove yourself from a job opening unless you know you're not getting that job. Davis Webb might be a talented coach and maybe on that quick track to being a head coach in the NFL, but it's not going to be with the Raiders. Why? That's because that's going to be Clint Kubiak's job with the Raiders. Going back home, Davis Webb.
Yeah, there you go. Withdrawing that name. I don't blame you. And quite honestly, it's the Raiders, so why in the world would you want that job anyway? Chances are you'd only have it for a year and a half, because that's how they roll, the Raiders. Yeah, it's Kubiak, but I don't know that I'm sold Kubiak wants the job either. So I think this is going to be very interesting, because I think Seattle is going to throw him an awful lot of money there to stay as the coordinator.
How about the new stadiums coming alive here in the NFL, Joe, over the next decade or so? The Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders, Denver. But Denver, by the way, it seems like these teams just built a stadium and now they're getting a brand new one here. Chiefs and also the Chicago Bears. Like, you tell me, I watch the Chicago Bears games. They messed up by making the stadium too small. Yes, they did. It still looks brand new at this point. And then you take a look at saying, okay, Denver felt like it just built their new stadium here, and they're already getting another one. And the best part about it is almost fully funded in most parts here by the public. And if it's not, maybe the Walton family out there in Denver is like, we got enough money. We'll just take everything into account here and handle this ourselves.
Yeah, that's a lot of new stadiums here over the next 5 to 7 years here, Donnie. So, all right, I don't know what was wrong with the older ones. I mean, places like Jacksonville can absolutely use a new stadium there because it felt like they kind of threw that thing together anyway when they created the franchise. But yeah, I mean, some of them are due, but not having Arrowhead anymore and moving it is it's going to be very interesting.
Or have it like the Chicago Bears moving like Gary, Indiana, it feels like, to say, we're going to hold this city hostage and make it drive 50 miles away at this point. But you're right about Jacksonville. Jacksonville had a stadium that was like already in place in Jacksonville, and they sort of just renovated it over the years. They need a new one. Cleveland already knocked down the mistake by the lake and built a brand new one. Now, like, oh, we need a brand new stadium on top of that. Philadelphia is a little bit older here, the original stadium here for the Tennessee Titans, but not that old. Buffalo also deserved a new stadium. I mean, that thing was around like a high school field. So you say, oh, Buffalo's getting a new stadium. Yeah, that makes some sense. Washington already had a new stadium. It's a terrible stadium where it is now, but now they want the dome effect and to go back to the old site of RFK. And then you're right about Kansas City, which if you read anything, those fans are so upset with this because you go from one of the ultimate home field advantages, and now you're going to take that away from the fans and just be like, okay, not only now is going to be much of a home field advantage anymore, it's going to be ultra corporate, and your season ticket prices are going to quadruple over the years. Joe, have you ever had season tickets in the NFL to any NFL team? Have you ever had them?
No, I had access to them, Donnie, the Giants and the Jets. And it didn't take long before I was like, yeah, no, you can keep them. I'm good to go. Thanks.
Do you remember the switch over, like, even from a Jets and Giants perspective, Giant Stadium, like families, generations bought those season tickets here and filled up that stadium. And like, we're going to build a brand new stadium. And by the way, your tickets that you had in your family were sat on the 20-yard line, 10 rows up. We need $150,000 per seat from you just for the right to buy your new tickets, which are going to go up tenfold at this point. And many said, no, thanks. We move to the upper deck. We're not going to buy them at all. The personal seat license. Imagine that. The right to buy the seat that you had. And, oh, yeah, they told you it was an investment you can sell in the future. Unbelievable, man. We'll be right back. Giannis Antetokounmpo's next team. Who would thought we'd ever be saying that? The guy should be minted in Milwaukee and never want to leave. The only problem is they can't surround him with the talent that he wants. Stays with Milwaukee or retires. He's actually trading at a 71% chance here. The favorite outside of Milwaukee, it's the New York Knicks at 15%.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Stacking up wins to avoid a brutal matchup path, and when Giannis is back full burst, they got to get him back on the floor and back on the floor healthy. The Bucks season won't be defined by the games Giannis misses. It'll be defined whether Milwaukee protects him from himself and gets him back in April if he's still a part of the team.
Pro Basketball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
ESPN are not going to take shots or criticize him. People on Fox are not going to take shots and criticize him. But McVay had a bad game. Sean Payton had a bad game. And that's just a fact. Like, when they go back and review what took place in key spots of that game, Sean Payton cost the Broncos points and Sean McVay cost the Rams points. Those are the first two people that should be blamed.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
get a week off to Super Bowl 60 here, sort of the calm before the storm, before the two planes fly into Santa Clara, and away you go. You got Monday night, meet the teams here, then they get sequestered away. Nobody wants to practice at Santa Clara itself because you might have some soft tissue injuries before you even get to the stadium. That's Sunday afternoon. Down the right side, Joe Ranieri, Tom Vecchio. He's joining us on a Football Friday here. Tommy, how we feeling, man?
I'm ready for the game to start. That's where I'm at this point. It is an exciting build up to the game, and there's so much going on, but I'm ready for the game to start. We are approaching a really interesting point in terms of the markets, because we've seen some interesting markets move in terms of the props, and one of the ones that I've already been on has moved at least 4 yards, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it should be a fun thing to break down. And again, we're going to go over it all the time next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, heck, Joe, you know as well as I do, Tom. We've been looking at, is the 4.5 going to move off 4.5? It's going to go to 5, going to go to 3.5 at this point. And also the totals at 46.5 now dropped to 45.5. But let's start here. Quarterback situations on both sides. We are always, Tom, going to overanalyze everything that comes up. And what's going to come up? Sam Darnold, oblique. Is he going to be completely healthy? He seemed all right the past 2 weeks. Drake May seemingly getting dinged up a bit in that game against the Denver Broncos. He's on the practice reports as being limited, but Mike Vrabel is telling us, don't you worry, he's going to be just fine. Tom, the quarterbacks, any worries here with the buildup for maybe some lingering issues?
At this point, no. And Sam Darnold, I think, is a good example. He was on the injury report. He's dealing with the oblique, but ultimately he's fine. Seeing that Drake May was, dealing with a shoulder injury yesterday, saw some people, talking about it on social media. It's literally a non-factor for me. That's just what it comes down to. If he's going to be limited Thursday or Friday of next week, then talk to me. But over a week out, him being limited in practice doesn't bother me at all. I think their props are where they should be. I think we're looking at Drake May potentially going over his passing yards prop. Sam Darnold, I'm not so sure about, but I'm not trusting the running game from the Pats really. And I think if Drake May falls below 222, the Pats just don't win that game. He has to go over.
Yeah.
You agree with the under move here early on? Because it feels like we're being set up to come back in. It feels like a lot of the pros are just waiting to see how low does this number go, because I can absolutely see a scenario where points are going in this game.
Yeah, and I would say like a 28-20 final. Is it that's a good amount of scoring, but that's an exaggerated amount of scoring. So, to your point, I am almost waiting that I think the over would be the play at a certain point. And again, we can get some modest amount of scoring, 27, 21, and we're over that total. It may not be flying over, but I would lean more points than not. What we've seen from the offense is good. And, we always talk about offenses starting off super scripted. Well, the defenses also don't want to make mistakes. And that may actually lead them to giving up a few more points just because they don't want to be blitzing a little bit more. They're not going to bring that extra corner. And then therefore there are some guys underneath that are open and it leads to more scoring chances.
And also taking a look at the New England Patriots, because I do like their offense. Well, they just don't score anymore in the playoffs. Have you seen, number one, the defenses that they played? Number two, the conditions that they played those defenses in isn't really conducive to scoring. San Francisco, we're probably going to get a much better clean slate on the playing field for both of these quarterbacks and the matchups here, Tom. If we flip it over to the wide receivers, obviously we know Jackson Smith and Jigba. He basically doubles up everybody else in the props market. I'm looking at FanDuel right now, Tom, 93.5. But boy, you are getting discounts across the board in the receiver/tight end field. Have you sort of focused on a player, Tom, that you might be looking for, or maybe even one of those guys that not a lot of people are looking at?
Yeah, I actually tweeted this out a couple days ago. George Halani over 7.5 receiving yards.
Cam loves him too.
The new second string tight end, second string running back for the Seahawks because Zach Charbonnet is out. Over 7.5. I saw his number get up to as high as 11.5 over at DK. And this is a player that, has been on the roster for a couple of years. They like him a little bit in pass protection. That's why that was the Charbonnet role, because they didn't love Ken Walker in the pass protection role. So in third downs, he's going to be there. If we look at what the Pats have done in the postseason to running backs in the receiving game, they're giving up yards. They give up yards to Kamani Vidal. They give up yards to RJ Harvey. They are a little bit susceptible in that area. So if it turns to a passing game, Sam Darnold's going to look for those quick checkdowns. And George Halani, 7.5. You give me 1 or 2 catches, I think he gets there.
I think it's going to be who do you give the edge in winning special teams here, Tom? Because it feels like the weather report doesn't look like it's going to be a problem. It feels like We're going to have a 60-yard field goal attempt. The longest field goal feels like it's going to be in play. It doesn't feel like, it feels like now we're in a situation with both these teams where they'll go, instead of going for it on fourth, they'll try the 60-yard field goal here. It feels like that is absolutely one of the props we got to concentrate on.
Absolutely agree with that. And it has to be Jason Myers. He has been downright awesome, not just this year, but for many years. And when it comes down to it, Borregales, the kicker for the Pats, he's a rookie, right? So, and he's been solid this year. He's been solid in the playoffs for the most part. I know he missed one in the most recent game, but he's a rookie when it's all said and done. Like, he's never been in a bigger moment. Myers has at least done it. Myers has taken game-winning kicks as the clock has expired. He's been in the playoffs. He's been extremely accurate over the past few years. So give me the edge to Seattle. And where that number is for longest field goal, the more that you say it, the more I'm going to be interested in it.
I always like to take a look at some of those player props here where you get those game specials thing. Can anybody break a record, Tom, from a Super Bowl past? Any player with 506 passing yards, any player to run for 216 and a half, any player here to run for over 205, receiving yards at 216, and then rushing yards at 205. Can we get anything spectacular in this game, or are we just looking for a close, hard-fought game in this one?
Frankly, just a quick glance at some of these specials.
Yeah.
Both teams to record an interception. I don't mind that. It's only plus 200. It's not some like crazy long shot, but Sam Darnold, we know the issues that he's had. Granted, he's been significantly better as of late, but really Drake May has been struggling as of late. Every game this postseason under 60%. Now, Donnie, you alluded to it before. The conditions and defenses haven't been great. We know that. But if we can get those guys through in the first half, I think that's live. Both teams to record an interception at plus 200. Not that bad.
All right, so we got about a week to go here, Tom. Settling in, line sits at 4.5 for the Seattle Seahawks. If I give you one bet on a side or a total in this game, which way are you going for Super Bowl 60 early?
If I can get the 45.5 now, I think it goes up and over. I think it's really that simple. We're going to get points. It's not going to be this game that we had Pats-Rams a couple years ago. It's not going to be 12-9 final. And this game's also not going to end 35-30. It's going to be somewhere in between. It'll be close, but it'll be a good game.
Sam Darnold or Drake May, one of those quarterbacks going to be a first-time Super Bowl champion. We'll find out next Sunday. Next time, we'll be right back. Giannis Antetokounmpo's next team. Who would thought we'd ever be saying that? The guy should be minted in Milwaukee and never want to leave. The only problem is they can't surround him with the talent that he wants. Stays with Milwaukee or retires. He's actually trading at a 71% chance here. The favorite outside of Milwaukee, it's the New York Knicks at 15%.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Stacking up wins to avoid a brutal matchup path, and when Giannis is back full burst, they got to get him back on the floor and back on the floor healthy. The Bucks season won't be defined by the games Giannis misses. It'll be defined whether Milwaukee protects him from himself and gets him back in April, if he's still a part of the team.
Pro Basketball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
ESPN are not going to take shots or criticize him. People on Fox are not going to take shots and criticize him. But McVay had a bad game. Sean Payton had a bad game. And that's just a fact. Like, when they go back and review what took place in key spots of that game, Sean Payton cost the Broncos points and Sean McVay cost the Rams points. Those are the first two people that should be blamed.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
February 6th, trade line in the NBA, reshaping your future. Which team's going to be loving it? Which team's going to be hating it? Which teams on the fan base is basically checked out at this point? We'll find out. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, one thing it seems like for sure, Joe, he's not going to be in Milwaukee. The only question is, will it be not Milwaukee February 7th or not Milwaukee sometime over the summer? And also, if we take a look at the predictive markets, including Kalshi, stays with Milwaukee, retires, is still the favorite at 42% right now. But understand this. This isn't will he be traded. This is actually based on will he be traded by February 6th, Joe. So he will be traded. You just got to figure out if it's going to be in time for the deadline this year.
Yeah, and that's the big if, right? Because we keep hearing that we know the Golden State Warriors are all in, Donnie, with the age of that roster. They are all in a win now. And losing, of course, Jimmy Butler, not great. But if any team is going to push their chips all in right now and try to get it done before the end of the season, it's going to be the Golden State Warriors. And they continue to be at the top of everyone's rumor chart that is the team they can see making the biggest push. The Knicks would need help. The Miami Heat would need help. The Minnesota Timberwolves would need other parts in to make all of this work. But it appears that Golden State, whatever that price might be, Donnie, might be the suitor if it's going to get done here over the next week or so.
Yeah, we'll see. Going out to Golden State. A lot of people have torn Achilles in Golden State over the past couple of years here. Giannis Antetokounmpo certainly isn't going to be one of those guys that wants to do that here. Will be interesting to see where he goes. He is going to be traded, as we said. But the fact of the matter is, will he be going by February 6th, which is the trade deadline this year in the NBA? Those Philadelphia 76ers, I should say my Sixers, they're on that radar for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But the one thing is, they're not going to give up VJ Edgecombe for him. Would you like to get Giannis? I mean, sure. But Giannis, the injured Giannis, no. Giannis, the Giannis that's going to have an Achilles injury possibly? Absolutely not. 3 years ago? Absolutely yes. It's intriguing to think about, but I don't think the Sixers would make that deal. I think they're resigned to the fact that if Embiid can give them what they give them, that's great. But more importantly, VJ and Maxey backcourt for the next 7-8 years, that's probably what they're gunning for, Joe.
And that's exactly what they should be gunning for. Listen, Embiid has come a long way, man. Really starting to come into his own. They're handling the load management the way they should. And listen, it would be nice to finally get Embiid healthy heading into what could be a pretty interesting postseason in the Eastern Conference, as opposed to him, limping in and then getting hurt in the first or second game, and then that's the end of it. So I think they're doing it the right way in Philadelphia.
Here's Giannis talking about some of those trade talks here that are certainly coming up.
For you, do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, and if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Sorry that I didn't want to make it personal, because you asked me the same question last year, and last year I was in the right mind space to answer the question back, but I remember it.
There goes Giannis. How about that, man? Love to see it from Giannis. Honesty as always, and failure is what? And it basically hey, I'm a failure here. Well, look at your bank account, look at your family. You're happy at this point. Maybe it just doesn't translate to wins. He's right.
He is absolutely right. I mean, it's not a failure just simply because you don't win a world championship here. I mean, and the fact that he remembers the question from a year ago from the same guy is also pretty interesting there. But I thought he handled it pretty well. I thought he made his point. And I think that's exactly it. I mean, listen, does he want, is the goal a championship every year? Of course it is, but it just doesn't, you don't snap your fingers and it happens all the time. So he will win another ring, though. I guarantee it just won't be with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Let's see where he gets set up next year. And again, trade deadline coming up sooner than later. And so is hour number 2. More hot topics on the way. Joe Ranieri, Donnie Wright, right here on the Sports Grid Network. We'll be right back.